This image is in a narrative series that I believe would be titled something along the lines of Enjoying Springtime. This series depicts a woman that seems to be at a park or a garden of some sort. She is walking through a green grass and stopping to smell and look at the vibrant, freshly sprouted flowers that are along the way. She reaches up to the vines that span across the archway to grab a hold of a beautiful pink flower. Next, she stops by these tall yellow flowers that are full of color and have no sight of dead petals or dying blades of grass. It appears to be springtime, with all of the plants, bushes, and trees sprouting new buds and showing off their new leaves. Also, another hint that it is spring is that the weather is nice and sunny, with no precipitation, but the woman is still dressed with warm clothing, long sleeves, which implies that it is still chilly outside. What I find most successful about this image is the lack of vibrant colors or anything that would stand out until you get to the center, where the flower is in the center of the image and is the focal point. The amount of green from the foreground continued to the background is just enough that it emphasizes the beautiful yellow in the flower in the middle. The green is not a bright or distracting color, even though the sun is high and the light is popping off of those blades of grass. A vibrant, deep, muted green, rather than a bright, vibrant green that is distracting from the bud of the flower. Another successful detail is that the ground that is mulch and not green from the plants is dark and goes well with the colors of the woman's outfit. She is wearing black jacket with black pants, and with the dark colors being so close to one another, it continues that idea that the elements within the photo are not distracting, but in fact exemplify the beauty of the flower in the center. If she were to be wearing a light-colored shirt or anything that is not dark and goes well with the color of the mulch, then the woman would become the focal point of the image. While I think the photographer wants the viewer to still view the woman as the main subject, I believe that her intent was to make the flowers and the garden the focal point of each image. And that is exactly what this photo does successfully, along with many other photos in this series. I appreciate the amount of detail that is captured within these photos and the way the foreground and the middle ground, where the subject normally is, are both very high quality and high in detail, and the background slowly starting to become out of focus the further you go back is another element that exemplifies the flower and the woman as the main focus of the image. One thing that I would change about this image is that it could be framed better. I can see a fence in the background that could have been used to frame one side of the image and give it a path for the viewer's eye to travel along that take them through the entire image rather than how it is now, where the background is not as important, but it also doesn't really get taken into consideration from the viewer. It is just looked over and then returned back to the woman in the flower. This image would be more successful if it allowed for the viewer to experience the entire photo from the foreground all the way to the background.